Alright, gonna do a vlog. It's been a while. Been moving, doing a lot of other things. Moved into a new house recently, so was busy with that, busy with work. But we're gonna try a few new things at the range today. I'll show you a couple of them now and a couple of the other ones later. So, 1 second. I'm gonna try the Hornady Ford off, and then also the Swarovski EO ranges. Those will be pretty cool, and yeah, we'll go see how it does. Alright, so I'm out here at Fossil Point, and trying a couple new things. Got the Mpa Matrix Pro. So far, so good, although this is the first range trip. I really like the ergonomics. Two vets, Recon tripod, and the Swarovski EO ranges. The glass on these is impeccable. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get it. Probably not. Yeah, sorry. This just isn't made for it. And then a Hornady Ford off Kestrel. So we'll see how those do. Alright, so we had a pretty good range trip today. I really enjoyed the new products that I've been trying. Sorry, I'm working off my cell phone because the other cameras are still packed up. We recently moved, so anyhow, so I've had an initial range trip with some of the new gear that I've tried out. I had the two vets tripod. It's the Recon. Really like it. I like the quick deploy leg feature. It locks up really solid. I've tried using it for rear support, with the bag up front underneath the rail. The Arca rail here. Very solid, especially if you're on like a rickety prop and it wobbles. You can run a bag up here. If you have, say, like a coal tack, I forgot the name, but it has like a backbone in there, and it's like a little thin pad. You can run the tripod behind you and get very solid on the bag. The other thing, but I think there's been several, reviews on the two vets tripod. I looked at that. I couldn't find a really right stuff tripod. Those were really the only two that I was going to look at. So I like the two vets tripod. I've had it for, I don't know, a couple months. I like it. Did try something new in the last month. I ordered this Mpa Matrix Pro Chassis. I really like the foundation stock. However, there were a few things after really evaluating why I was hitting a plateau that made me want to try something new. Okay, it's not knocking the stock. I could have ordered a foundation Centurion, and I think I probably would have been able to resolve the issue, but I found this in stock at DI Precision. My friend Chris Manicki shoots for them. I really like their company. So I wanted to give it a shot. And I've always liked the look of the Mpa Matrix and thought they were pretty cool. Matt Caruso was, very kind and let me try his at a match. And I just felt like we have similar, build. He's taller than me. Everybody's taller than me. But similar build, and it was very comfortable for me to get behind. I didn't have any issues with the length of pull. And more importantly, my only complaint with the foundation stock is you cannot adjust the grip so that you're in a more vertical position with the MG2. I know the Centurion probably would have fixed that, but I also like to float my thumb off to the side. And this has the gas pedal thumb rest shelf over here. And I really like it because it puts your finger in a perfect position to make that 90-degree shot, especially with the, sorry, I've got this kind of set up on a weird tripod up there. But this thumb shelf over here, let me see if I can get this. Sorry. This thumb shelf and this trigger, I don't even know what you want to call that, but that trigger guard portion, is really sweet because it moves your finger into position to get a perfect 90-degree shot every time, and or a 90-degree press. And what I like about it is then I can practice in dry fire. I just got done dry firing. I forgot to take this off. But you can practice your dry fire in a manner that, you know, if your reticle moves off to the side, you know you did not get a good square press on the trigger. This has really helped me to cut down on the number of times that the reticle moves up into the right off target or straight up off target. That's typically the problems that I have because of the way that my fingers are and my hand is. I also have a little bit of neuropathy in my right index finger because I hurt my cervical spine one time. This is a really cool quick fix. You know, I think it comes with 3 different shelves and a couple of grips and things, and it's highly adjustable. And then it's got I think there's 5 sizes to make sure that your index finger gets in a good 90-degree position, and you can try them all out and see which one fits your hand the best. And that's what I liked about this, was the adjustability of the chassis. The other thing that I really like about this is this is a really wide forend, and I mean it sticks out from the arc rail probably a good ½ inch. So overall you get an inch total, a ½ inch on each side, where these little wings right here that are on the side of the rail rest on a bag, and they have weight to them. And you know, it really helps stabilize the rifle once you make good connection to your bag. So you know, I like the Armageddon Garish medium. I also like the Bipod mini fortune cookie with the grip stuff on the bottom. Place it up there, smack the bag, you know, smooth it out, make sure that it's level to the target, and then you put your rifle down on there real hard. You're very stable. You're not going anywhere. And I actually had the best, I don't know if it was the highest score, but it was the highest placement I've ever had in a match just yesterday. So I had a weekend of practice that's in the other footage that's attached to this video. And then I went and shot at Battle Springs Ranch up in Overbrook, Oklahoma. Tyler Black had a really cool match. I really liked the terrain. The wind was tricky because of the terrain, and I learned a lot there. But anyway, I got a 2nd place finish. That's the highest finish I've ever had. So, you know, I didn't know what to expect because I was running new gear. It worked out pretty well. So I want to get into some of the other new gear that I'm really liking. I have the Atlas Bipod on there right now to hold it, because my wife would kill me if I put these feet on the dining room table. But these work really well, and I really love the SkyPod that MDT has. I realize it's really expensive and it's probably not for everybody. I think they have another MDT bipod, and I haven't tried it. But I think if you got these aggressive feet with an you know, like I think they're the hot kill feet, and you can put them on, you know, even like a Harris bipod or the Atlas bipod. Still going to probably be very effective, but I just really like it. I felt very stable the whole time. But the advantage that this gives you is you can, you know, kick your legs out a lot farther. You can adjust to have a lower center of gravity, and then just the ability to pull the legs and mess with it and get into different positions quickly, and everything was just really cool. And it was a lot more intuitive than I gave it credit for. Initially in my mind, I said, hey, that just looks like a bunch of crap to mess with. But, you know, if you want to retract the position, you just push a button and it locks in. You know, so it's pretty cool. I really like it. You know, if you want to make sure that your rifle can't, you tighten this, you know, just put an Allen wrench through there and tighten it, and then you can take out the ability to cant, or it's a lot harder. There's a lot more tension. So I really like the SkyPod now. I think I'm going to run it for the rest of the season. I didn't want to make any changes this season to my system, but I just felt like it was necessary because there were some things that I was personally struggling with, and I decided that change might be good, and it was. So the other change that I made is I shoot Hornady bullets, so I switched to the Hornady Ford-off Kestrel. The instructional manual is very easy to read through, and it goes off of a drag curve model or axial form factor. As long as you input your latitude and your zero range, you can also have your zero. There's like a zero angle option in there. You don't have to use it, but if you are in a hit, some terrain that offers a lot of elevation changes, that might be good. But you essentially put in your latitude, and it just has to be rough. For instance, here in the North Texas area, our latitude is 33 degrees. When I was up in Oklahoma, it was 34. So not a huge change, but there was some change in my dope. The point of impact was perfect, though. The one thing that was tricky for me is reading the wind. It was different there because of the terrain and the trees, because there was a little bit more angle to factor in. I could have done a better job reading the wind, to be honest with you. And that's one thing that I learned to do at that match was I took my Swarovski binoculars, I'd range the target. It didn't always range them perfectly, I'll be honest with you about that. But the glass is so clear, I'm going to keep it and try to mess with this a little bit more. I do have the angle feature on, so that or the angle of fire, so that may be part of the issue. Some people turn that off, so I may go ahead and do that. But these are real simple to use. There's a button up here on the left side. You push it, you let the little donut sit on whatever the target is that you're trying to shoot, and then in the lower left side of the optic, it gives you the yardage range. So it's good to help identify the targets because you'll be in that ballpark, but it was off a little bit, probably about 10 yards on average. The glass is extremely clear, which honestly made it a little hard to read Mirage. So what I had to learn to do was take this out of focus and read what the Mirage was doing at the target, because the impeller, which is the wind reader on this thing, is going to read what's happening at you, but it's also important to factor on what's going on downrange, because you'll feel a wind that may be really strong at you if you're up on a hill, and then down in a valley it may be doing something totally different. So you need to look and see what it's doing down there versus what it's doing at you, and then maybe knock out a few tenths of wind, or go straight up when you think, hey, normally I'd hold 5 tenths to the right or to the left. We had a lot of headwind, and then it turned into a tailwind in the afternoon. It was really some cool conditions to learn in. I think before yesterday I would have said, hey, this was really hard to do. But after a while I was like, you know what? The wind is always going to be a variable, and I can be mad at it, or I can learn and adjust. And I had a couple stages. I cleaned the first stage, and then the second and third stages, I didn't do nearly as good as I wanted to. I think I had a 9, which was a clean, and then a 6, and then a 4, and then a 7. So I was dropping shots way more than I normally do because I wasn't reading the wind correctly, and I almost gave up mentally. That was something else I wanted to talk about, is when you can give up in the middle of a situation that's not going your way and say, you know what, next match. Or you can embrace the journey and say, hey, you know what, I'm gonna stick with it, because I almost detached and just said whatever and make excuses in my mind. But I didn't, and I learned a lot from it, that if I just stick with each shot, focus on the fundamentals of a good press, make sure that I'm on target, and then also there's also some soft skills that go into this, because there's those that are highly technical and those that are soft. And one of the soft skills is say, hey, I've got my target, or I'm sorry, my reticle on the target downrange. I have a little bit of wobble. It was extremely hot, and over 100 degrees yesterday. I was starting to get dehydrated a little. So I was hydrating a lot, but I mean, it was just hot, and I was getting tired mentally. And I was like, okay, I can take a lot of time to really make sure I'm not moving, which would have been impossible because my muscles are fatigued. or I can have a little bit of faith that, hey, the width of this target is 1 mil and it's like 1.5 tall, which usually he'd start with the first shot would be far away and then have smaller targets closer. That way you kind of figure out your windage down there. But hey, you know what? Just have a little bit of faith in your process and get squared up and press the trigger sooner rather than getting in your head. And then you watch what happened downrange. And it paid off. I think some people would argue that no, it'll take more time to set up, but I think if you would have taken too much time, because there was a lot of movements and positions, it would have hurt me and I wouldn't have got as good of a score as I did. So anyway, yeah, everything worked out pretty well. I decided not to bracket my wind as in detail as I normally do this match, and I thought it was starting to really burn me, but then the wind was doing some things that I just wasn't used to so much, that I think if I would have stuck with the plan, I would have continued failing instead of taking my reticle out of focus, reading the mirage, go back into focus, and then adjust to what I'm seeing downrange. So that's something to keep in mind. But as far as the Ford off, if you're shooting Hornady bullets, that really is the software to go with. Because I also have an AB Kestrel and I still have it. But this is just more accurate for the Hornady bullets rather than going off of the G7 ballistic coefficient. I'm sure there's some things, I know there's some things with windage that you can use the G1 BC for, but those are really, I don't know, I think they're outdated. So using I can't even remember what it's called now. The axial form factor is much better, and I was getting much better, results downrange. So I really like the Ford off. I'm gonna definitely stick with it. I have some 109 grain ELDs that I'll try at some point. But all in all, I'm really pleased with the change. I still have a couple of foundation stocks that I have on my 22s, and I think I'm gonna just stick with them there because they work. But if I get uber competitive with 22s, I'm probably gonna get another Mpa Matrix. I love both the stocks and this chassis, so I don't think you can go wrong there. But I do like the adjustability for my hands because I have really wide, thick hands that don't necessarily match the length of the fingers that I have. My fingers, I have like medium length fingers, but like a really extra large size palm and thickness of the hand, so it's strange anyway. And I just found that that worked really well. I also found that putting my hand up here to keep the rifle stable works really well for me. And I'm finding that dry fire practice and making sure that I get a good press every time and do it for a long time, an hour, pays off, because then you get the muscle memory built and the practice built up. When I go shooting and practicing at the range, I'm only going to shoot maybe 25 to 50 rounds and dry fire a whole lot in between to make sure that I've developed that muscle memory to get good presses. And it's paying off. I'm starting to place higher. So I hope this initial review, that I don't want to call this a long-term review and say, hey, you know what, this is gonna fix all the problems. It's not just the gear, it's the people who run it. But I've really liked the change since then. It is a heavier setup than previously because it does come with some weight. Well, there's a lot of weight up here. It balances really well. But I also put some weights in the fore end. I bought the weight kit from Gray Ops because DI Precision had it in stock, and I like it. Kept me on target. I barely get any movement. Of course, I shouldn't anyways because I'm shooting a BR. So that might seem a little ludicrous, but I like the results of it. So, I can complain about the game and, say that, hey, it originally was this intent, or I can, choose to try to be competitive and win at the game. And at the end of the day, that's what it is. So I'm going to try to remain competitive. So I hope this is helpful for you. Oh, one other thing. So we were supposed to do a launch, but I know he's been super busy, but I was able to order this straight or taperless tuner brake. Love this thing. Shoots great groups. I'll do a separate review on that, but I like it and how well it blends in with the system as opposed to the original that had kind of the, you know, it comes back into a normal, I think, 900 diameter barrel. So that's pretty cool. I hope this is useful for you, and I hope that you're improving your shooting game. Let me know how that's going for you in the comments. Have a great day, shoot better, all of those things. I don't have a slogan yet. Let me know what my slogan should be. That would be fun. Anyway, cool. Y'all have a good one.